We were honored to have NFI come to Drive My Way, saying, hey, we're met with these challenges. We're trying to serve our customers and we're looking for a partner. And we love it because that's what we love to do. We really take partnership very seriously. And you set that tone right from the very beginning. Leadership was directly involved. You set the stage on what the challenges were that you were facing. You outlined the jobs that you were struggling with, how many you had to recruit in every location, and said, you tell us how you can help very, sort of transparently and honestly, and let's put a plan together. And it truly has been every step of the way working together on that joint plan that we continue to iterate and evolve on. What makes it unique trying to recruit for a dedicated carrier?
NFI, as you've mentioned, has been growing tremendously this past year. I think we've been pretty much growing from 2020 with the pandemic. A lot of those essential products that we deliver, like grocery items, never stopped. So what we were seeing was a lot of our truck drivers were sticking around because they knew that they were getting the work and they felt the appreciation from us. With the overtime pay, the changes that were happening with the DOT hours that, we didn't have a control over, but our drivers appreciated, getting compensated for the work that they were doing and feeling that appreciation. And it's never stopped. So since the pandemic, we were continuing to grow and grow, and 2021 was a tremendous year for us with all the new accounts that we brought on, and also just our existing fleets to expand. A lot of the needs that are going out there is because of the growing businesses that we have established for years.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. And it's certainly with all the challenges of the pandemic that made it even harder, to do what you do every day. We want to just get your perspective in terms of how it's been working with Drive My Way and the partnership that we've established. And how we've been able to have the most impact on your process.
That screening process that you do for us, you're not giving us thousands and thousands of leads. You're giving us hundreds of quality leads, every quarter. So it's providing us a little bit less of a legwork of having to screen those candidates ourselves. And it kind of gives us more that leading conversation of, okay, we know that you passed our expectations of what we have to be a qualified driver, and just take it to that next step. So it kind of shortens our hire time leadway, because also the leads you're sending over are interested in the job, are interested in NFI. They already know a lot of details that sometimes we get these leads come through, they don't have all those answers already. So it definitely helps having that vetting process in the front before it comes over to us.
No, we appreciate that because we really, truly do jointly share the accountability that you have to your customers. We feel like it's our own as well.
When it comes to requests coming from everywhere and we think about what vendors to put it where and where we've seen success, look at those numbers of where do we get high volume versus high hires, looking at that information. And then just knowing that with Drive My Way, we're getting, like I said before, that quality lead. So if it's something that we don't have months and months to vet for and need, and whether it be a high number of drivers that are needed in a short period of time, we want like a quality number that comes through. We don't want thousands of resumes to come or applications that come through and they're not even qualified, or they don't respond to us in that attempting contact phase, or no interest with a lot of the multi-carrier vendors that we do have. That's when it kind of differentiates with you guys, because we're getting, like I said, that direct lead that is already vetted out.
I would say too, it sounds like that NFI has a pretty unique culture and that retention is a really high priority for all of you. Would you like to comment on your focus on retention, not just on the recruiting piece of things?
Yeah, sure. So we have a whole department dedicated to retention. Tony, did you want to talk a little bit about it since you work with Al pretty closely?
Does make a lot of sense to, put a lot of effort into recruiting drivers if you don't plan on keeping those drivers to the same thing, really. So our driver retention, we've got a driver resource manager or director who is essentially working almost around the clock, just staying in touch with our drivers, fielding questions from our drivers. He's got another team member and working to build out his team. Just as drivers run into issues or as they run into problems, they reach out to him and his team directly. He makes sure to facilitate, really good conversations between those drivers and their managers to make sure that we have open lines of communication and that there's a clarity between, there's sort of no smoke and mirrors. They want to make sure that the lines of communication are there and that we have an open door policy with our managers as well.
We're retaining our drivers really well because of the management that we have. And it starts from the top, from our president all the way down to, our drivers. They feel the appreciation. So every year we do our million-mile driver event. So anybody that's been with us that has over 1 million miles, they get that recognition. And then anybody over 2 million miles or 20 years, they get a little placard on their truck. They get their own personalized trucks. They get a plaque in corporate with their name and how long they've been working for us. So it's just like that little token of appreciation that goes a long way. So we started back that in 2019 and doing it every year since.
Wanted to talk a little bit about the technology. I know that you all use our custom dashboard that we've built for you specifically. And I know, Tony, you do a lot in terms of the technology and the reporting.
You guys are pretty great about keeping an open line of communication with us. And the tool that you utilize is it's been pretty convenient. We have the ability to log in, see take a look at what we've got up, take a look at sort of the information that you've got provided for us as it's published, and it really makes makes things a bit more convenient to track on our end. We do have, as you mentioned earlier, when you go through so many vendors for hiring and for leads, it sometimes gets a little muddied. Not if they don't have any kind of dashboard for you to be able to log into and take a look at, okay, well, what are their numbers? And sometimes, between whether it be tagging or how they send the information over, it can get a little confusing with what the numbers actually are. Your system makes it pretty convenient for us to be able to take a look at those and tell at a glance, what our numbers are, what you're reporting out to us, and to even take a look at the, what we have posted and information wise, what's going out there for our ads, so that we can on our end be sort of have that comfort knowing that the right information's out there. And
we have a key role here at Drive My Way, which is your customer success manager. So in this case, Milan. So can you talk a little bit about Drive My Way's customer success team and maybe how it compares to some of the other resources that you've used?
Milan is great. Whenever we have an update or a change, he's right on it. I like that you also send over, like, before it's fully published, what you have to make sure that everything is correct, and any changes we can go back and forth on with all that updates. And also just like taking note of when things are being kind of stagnant. So this driver has been in the status for a while, or why are they on hold? Kind of calling out different information that we may not necessarily have our eyes on, and we can then talk to our recruiters about it. That is something very different than I've experienced with anybody else, vendor-wise.
Would you recommend Drive My Way to another company?
I would just talk about the success and the partnership and how you guys are very open and willing to do any challenge. You never turn down anything. And even when something is slow, you always come up with recommendations of what we can do to improve.
I'd like to echo what Caitlin said. You guys are great to work with. You've got some great, you've got some good tools for us to utilize. You've got great communication back and forth with us.